Welcome to Assay TV. My name's Leo Stemp and I'm here today at the Velgeminde in Cape Town at the One-to-One Mining Investment Conference. And I'm here with Mike McAllister, who's the VP Investor Relations at Sierra Metals. Sierra Metals are developing three projects. They have three producing mines in South America, in Peru and in Mexico. Mike, great to see you here today in beautiful Cape Town.
Oh, in beautiful Cape Town, indeed.
Fantastic. If you start off by telling us a little bit about your company, three producing mines. If you start with maybe Yauricocha, your biggest mine down in Peru, what are you producing there?
So Yauricocha is a polymetallic mine, and we produce copper, zinc, lead, silver, and gold. And I would say zinc is the highest, but copper is not far behind. And so those are the two largest metals that are coming out of that property.
And how's your year gone? How's 2019 gone in terms of production?
It's gone very well. 2019, we had a great year. We're limited in terms of production to 3150 tons per day by the government. We have to go through an EIA permit and a permitting process, which has been a bit tough in Yauricocha or in Peru lately. The permitting has become more difficult and more onerous. It's not impossible, but it certainly takes longer. But we're operating at full capacity of 3150 tons per day. The mine's running quite well, and we've moved forward, and we're looking to go to 3,600 tons per day this year. The work is all done for the expansion. We're just waiting for the permit to come from the government.
How long has the expansion process taken you?
Not that long, really. We went from about we've been expanding every year from, like, I would say 2,500 up to where our nameplate capacity of 3,150 is. We're going to 3,600 this year, and that to expand that process has taken, I would say, a couple of years to get up to the nameplate capacity. And we're looking, obviously, as I said, to go to 3,600 and then potentially to 5,500. Originally, we were slating 2021, but I think it's going to be 2022, just given the timing of the permits.
And what are your all-in sustaining costs?
So right now, all-in sustaining is about 66 cents on a zinc equivalent pound. Since zinc is the highest metal there, we base it on that.
Fantastic. And looking at 2020, what are your guidance figures for the year?
So 2020 at Yauricocha is very similar. The all-in sustaining cost is going to stay at about 66 cents. We are, as I mentioned, at 3,150, hoping to go to 3,600 tons per day, but that probably, given the way the permitting is going, won't happen until the latter half of the year. So yeah, unfortunately, we're in a little bit of a waiting period here.
Okay. You have two mines in Mexico as well, Bolivar and Cusi.
Correct.
Tell us a little bit about those. Bolivar.
So Bolivar is our copper mine in Mexico, and that one has had significant growth potential in the last year. We had finished 2018 at about 2,900 tons per day. We're finished 2018. 2019, we finished at about 4,200 tons per day, and currently the mine's running at about 5,000 tons per day. We've also had some good success in terms of bringing down our costs. Last year was higher. It was about $16 all in sustaining because we had spent some capex on expanding the mine and expanding the portals. That has come down, and so our all in sustaining guidance for 2020 is about $1.70 pound.
What have you done to lower your costs?
We increased volume, so it's on a sustaining or on a per product basis. So we've increased volume, and not only that, we've also improved efficiencies. We've brought in some newer equipment. We've expanded the portals to 5x5, so now instead of having to use low haul equipment, we can bring surface trucks right down into the mine, so we increase the volume that's coming out. And then we've also been increasing the grade as well. We've started to mine more from the Bolivar West area versus the El Gallo area, which has increased copper grades and as well as some higher gold and silver content.
What's the grade in that area?
So versus about 0.9% copper, it goes up between 1.2, 1.5, somewhere in that range. And then we also, as I mentioned, instead of having like 0.2 grams of gold, we have maybe 0.5 in this area, and then further to the west it gets as high as a gram of gold.
And feeling quite bullish about the long-term outlook for the copper market?
Definitely feeling bullish. Although we've seen some small setbacks recently with the coronavirus out of China, we definitely think that the support is there longer term, not only from e-vehicles, but also from infrastructure spending in China and other developing countries to support a higher copper price going forward, especially as some of the new mines coming on are at lower rates as well as lower grades.
Fantastic. And Kusi, tell us about that.
Sure. Kusi's our smallest mine. It's our silver producer. 98% of what comes out of there is silver with a bit of gold. That mine is expanded from about, I would say about 800 tons per day last year. We're closing in on 1,200 tons per day this year. Right now, we're focused on completing a 43-101 on the Santa Rosa de Lima area, which is going to provide the basis of our premier reserve on the property. So Kusi is a mine that's been kind of bootstrapped and built along the way. It's been producing as it's been being built because there was a mill in place. But this year we should hit 1,200 tons per day on that, and our cost should come down on an all-in sustaining basis to about $15-ish.
Fantastic. And expansion potential at Kusi?
Definitely has expansion potential. Right now we're focused on the initial 43-101, and we want to see what happens with silver price. But we have two significant trends, the Kusi fault as well as the border fault and the San Nicolas fault, which we've been doing some work on. So there's definitely scalability on this project and opportunity to grow out further. But right now we want to see what we see in the first reserve and what's going to happen with silver price in the next little bit.
When do you think you'll have that result out?
That should be in July of this year.
Right. So working on that now. And Mexico is a place to do business, as a place to mine?
Definitely. Mexico is a very friendly country to miners. It has an established mining code. It's very easy to get your permits there. We've had no issues with the any of the ejido. We have great community relations, and so we've never had any problems. And the great thing about that too is, being a mining country, it's easy to find geologists, mining engineers, people to work in the mines that are already experienced and can offer hit the ground running right away.
And local infrastructure is good, is it?
Yeah, we're on grid power, paved roads, lots of water sources around. In Bolivar, where water is not as plentiful, we've actually built quite a large freshwater dam. We're able to provide not only the mill's requirements, but also provide some of the local farmers water during the dry season as well.
Right, so you have good community relations locally?
Yes.
Excellent. And Peru, for the Yauricocha Mine, how's that as a destination?
It's great. Peru is a mining country as well. We have no issues there, other than the permits being a bit slow, which the country is working on. But community relations are great. We're pretty remotely located. We only have a few small villages around us, but we do have great relations with the communities. We try to encourage self-employment, and we help them to build businesses that they become suppliers to the mine and become independent of us and are able to, be sustainable going forward, even if we're not there. But it's great, and we have great relations and great community and environmental standards in the area. We operate similar in Peru as we would in North America on a first world basis. So we treat the communities well as the environment well.
So, and geographically speaking, how's the potential for expansion at Yauricocha and new exploration projects?
So we have two exploration potentials. We have brownfield and greenfield. Brownfield, we're working this year on an area where three major faults meet on the property. It's closer to surface. So we're going to be drilling from the 900 level up towards the 700 level. So this is an area that would be right within the mine infrastructure and be very quick and easy to bring into the mine, which represents a significant potential for a new discovery. We're going to start drilling on that very shortly. We're just finishing the drill platform in the tunnel below, and that could represent a significant new brownfield opportunity. Additionally, we've done a Titan 24 survey, which has given us over 100 targets on the property. And so where we know about the Yauricocha fault, we saw a significant amount of anomalies on the Chanta fault. And so now we're going to be drilling in two areas, the Chanta fault on the lower end of that, as well as in an area called San Juan Don Leona, which is further to the north. One is more of a potential porphyry target, and the other one is more skarn.
So what sort of area are we talking about here? How close are the new projects to the existing plant infrastructure?
So the new projects being San Juan Don Leona, as well as the bottom of the Chanta fault, are about 5 kilometers away from the existing mine infrastructure. So any material processed or taken from there could be processed at the existing mill. Obviously some infrastructure and stope development required there, but for the most part, it's not going to require any new significant infrastructure to process that material.
Perfect. And in terms of your shareholders and your who's on the register, any big names?
So the biggest name we have is our Arias Resource Capital Management, which stands for 52% of the outstanding stock. That's in two different funds. His first fund has about 32%. His second fund has about 20%. We also have BlackRock out of London, Hambro has about 10%. Right. A large investor in the U.S., Leon Cooperman, who owns probably about 4%, and the West family offices own about 4% as well. Management Insiders about 6%. All
right, so you've got some significant names on the register there.
Yes.
And in terms of your board, any sort of key highlights in terms of your management team So you've got a lot of expertise, I believe, down in South America doing projects.
We do. We have the key player is Igor Gonzalez, who's our CEO. He's a well-known operator. He worked for Barrick for a long time, heading up their South American operations, and eventually became the CEO of the company. We also have, in terms on the management team, Ed Guimaras, our CFO, who worked for Ore Resources, which got taken out by Teck. We also have a few other people on the team, Americo Zuzunaga, and Augusto Chung, which have worked for companies, Barrick, Milpo, Nearstar, various companies in South America, are very familiar with that area. On the board, we have some good support. We have Stephen Dean on the board, who was from Atlantic Gold, that just got sold to St. Barbara. We also have Doug Cater, who has just retired from Kirkland Lake. He's a geologist. He used to be their VPX, and he's on our board as well. So, and then some other key players as well in terms of corporate governance and stuff like that. Coco Fujimura. So yeah, it's a well-rounded board, a very active board.
Fantastic. And your key sort of catalysts looking at the year ahead, what should investors be looking out for?
The biggest thing is cash flow. I would like to say is cash flow and EBITDA. We're guiding cash flow of 30 to 35 million, EBITDA between 110 and 120 million. And we also have expansions happening at the mine. Hopefully we'll get our permits at Yauricocha. We'll see an expansion there. And then our costs are coming down as well.
And all that cash, what are you going to be doing with it?
So we've told investors and already put this on a press release that we're going to be returning $30 million of cash to investors through a couple of tranches. The first 15 million will be done through a significant issue or buyback. That'll happen as soon as we're out of blackout from our first quarter results. The second 15 million is yet to be determined based on what happens with the share price with the first tranche. It could be another buyback. It could be a special dividend. There's multiple ways we can return that capital.
Fantastic. And where are you listed at the moment? TSX?
So we're listed on the TSX as well as in New York on the NYSE American.
Fantastic. And where can people go to find out more information about the company?
They can come to our website, www.sierrametals.com. We also have multiple social media channels that they can follow us on as well.
Fantastic. Well, lots of exciting things to look forward to in the year ahead. Thank you very much for joining us here today.
Thank you.